Alrighty, welcome back to another one of these Unlocks podcasts. I'm your host, as always, Clinton Tudor, and we're really excited today. We are absolutely thrilled. Just let me know where you guys are joining in from. Please let me know. Are you coming in from Australia? Are you coming in from New Zealand? Are you coming in from Singapore? Are you coming from further afield? I want to know that you guys are tuned in and you're listening. And it's more important that we know where you're from so I can shout you out. Super pumped. It's been a massive week of combat sports here in New Zealand. We're really excited. Obviously, we've got Dan Hooker on deck tomorrow. Auckland! Way to go, Zlata. Good to represent. Dan Hooker on tomorrow. He's on the UFC over in the UK. That's extremely exciting. A lot of cool things going on locally. We've got Kiwi boxers traveling over to Thailand in a few weeks. It's all go. But today's very special guest is really unique. We're super excited to have him on. He's no stranger to the MMA world, to the combat sport world. He's been grinding the gears. He's been really believing in himself, and he's leveled it up. And there is meaning that it's huge opportunities for New Zealand and Australian fighters. Why? Because Beast Championship is what this man represents. He is the El Presidente, the big don of there. And please welcome Jason Hoad.
Yeah. Hey, g'day everyone. Thanks, heaps, Clint. Pleasure to be here, mate.
My man. Beast Championship. It is so good to finally get you on here, bro.
Hey, it's an honor, brother. Thank you so much.
What's going on for you, man? What's happening?
Oh, mate, it's probably easier to say what's not happening, but let's just say a hell of a lot of good's happening, mate. So as far as the combat sports world for Oceania, mate, it's looking really, really good.
I'm super excited. I was just sort of singing the praises and letting people know. Thank you, Ryan, for joining in, brother. We were just letting more people tune in and catch up. If you're new to this podcast, please shout out where you're from. It helps us to, get the chat bots going on, get the little algorithm happening, let more people know about the benefits of martial arts. Jason Hoad, Beast Championship. We've got some big news, brother, but let's just straight away get it going on. Why don't you just give me the quick version of who the hell are you and why the hell should we care?
Okay, in a nutshell, someone who absolutely loves combat sports, started, Kyokushin when I was 4 years old. I'm 43 in a couple of months, so I guess you can say it's been pretty much my whole life involved in martial arts. I worked with a lot of other promotions and stuff, either as a matchmaker or someone running behind the scenes, getting stuff done. And a couple of years ago, I wanted to go out and do it the way that I wanted to do it. And my approach is very unique. Beast Championship is extremely unique. And I guess I've sort of been following One Championship ever since they first launched. So if you consider, like, next week, we've got the 10-year anniversary of One Championship. That's a long time that I've been following that, so yeah, 1X all the way. So Chatri and the team, they've done an amazing job. Basically 3 fight cards in one day coming up. So, but yeah, I wanted my flavor of a combat sports promotion that was, everyone either focused on MMA or they focused on Muay Thai or they focused on kickboxing or boxing, and then we had standalone grappling tournaments as well. So on my first show, I had grappling tournaments, boxing, MMA, kickboxing, headlined by a Thai title, which everyone said was Fight of the Year for 2019. So that was super exciting to start that way,
Mate, you kicked it off. You kicked it off with a bang. Just let's fill the picture in a little bit. I think you're sort of brushing over a few things. Let's fill the picture in for my Kiwi guys at home. Let's get a little bit of an understanding about who you are. You are the what to Beast Championship, and how long has Beast Championship been going for?
Okay, so I'm the president / CEO. We officially sort of launched 3 years ago as a fully fledged Beast Championship show. We'd done combined shows with other people and stuff. When we first launched, I was hit up by a couple of promoters that said, "Hey, would you mind doing a collab with us and seeing how we go?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll give everything a go. Try it once." And I did that, but it didn't suit the flavor of what I want. So I created Beast Championship. I've created a very, very loyal and good team around me that share my vision, share my goals. So I've been extremely fortunate to have people that envision the show that I want to deliver to people. You know what I mean? And it's I wanted it to be about the athlete first, and a lot of other sports say they're about the athlete, but behind the scenes, like small writing in contracts and screwing fighters over, like if you sell X amount of seats, you'll get X amount of ticket commission. Oh, but wait, after the fight, we had to take off your fighter's travel. We had to take off your fighter's opponent's accommodation. And then I was like, you can't do that to people, like if you shake another man's hand and say, I'll pay you $2,500 for your fight, you then don't turn around and deduct everything after the show and then go, here's $120, so Clinton, that was the final straw when I witnessed that and was dealing with the fighter that was, pleading with me, like, how do we fix it? I'm like, it's got nothing to do with me. Like, and I was like, you know what? That'll be the last time that I can't ever help anyone again.
Mm-hmm. So that was sort of,
so
you took the plunge. You were helping out other promoters for quite a few years. As you say, matchmaking, helping behind the scenes, helping work out and make shows popular. And then you sort of seen a gap for Beast Championship doing something that you wanted to run the way you wanted it to be run for fighters first. And that gave birth to Beast Championship.
Yeah, 100%. Like, when I went to Singapore, and I watched One Championship, it absolutely blew me away. Like, One Championship isn't just a combat sports. Hey, g'day, Max. How are you, mate? One Championship isn't just about the fighting. They're developing people and they're telling stories about people. And obviously, I'm still in my infancy as far as a promoter and being able to generate stories, but that's where we're heading, like, everyone loves the story. If there's someone they can follow through their journey, especially if they've had hardship, especially if they've had challenges, we've all had challenges in life, and it's about being able to tell those stories of those people that overcome those challenges, and rise and do something else. And that's where sort of Beast Championship sort of took on this. We like to call ourselves an entertainment, like before we're just a fight promotion, we're an entertainment promotion first. We really bring the crowd in. If you've ever seen our shows, like we do an opening ceremony every show. It doesn't all of a sudden just lights go black and the first fighter walks out. Like when our lights go out, our warning siren sounds, and that signals the start of our show. And
it sounds like a dawn raid.
We had that.
It sounds like a dawn raid,
much,
man.
Like 14 years military, so that sort of stuff. That was the I brought that across from, that was something that meant something to me, like that was the signal. Like I heard so many CRAM. A CRAM is like an air warning siren over in Iraq and Afghanistan. And basically, it was like, holy shit, something's going down. And, so we'd scramble for cover. So this way, like at Beast, when I put the air raid siren, as soon as that sounds, like everyone just sits down in their chair. We then have our MC. He comes out dressed out in one of his costumes that he decides to do. And he'll either do a fire show or something else, but quite often, and depending on the venue as well, like if they've got lots of smoke alarms, we can't do a massive fire show. But in the next two shows, not so much 9, but Beast Championship 10, we've got like a massive show lined up there for the opening ceremony, which will hopefully raise, combat sports to a whole nother level. And then when people see that, Clinton, they're like, that wasn't just a fight show, man. That was like, it's like I had just gone into like a theater type thing, watch this whole production, like there's all the fights, there's all this stuff going on. We include a lot of people that other people sort of like might overlook in combat sports. Like, for example, one of my soldiers, as soon as I found out, hey, thanks, Charlie. As soon as I found out that his son, was 6 years old and had leukemia, like the first thing I did is I rang him and I said, even though he's in hospital, we're going to try and get him out for the night on Beast Championship 6, which was a massive show in Brisbane. And we made him up his own championship belt and stuff like that. And we gave him he got a big standing ovation for his own walkout down the red carpet, down the ramp, up into the
Mate.
cage. And the crowd absolutely loved that. And we raised heaps of money to help him to donate to the family because it was short notice. Hey, yeah, look at the head on me, Gav. How you going, buddy?
Plenty of support, Jace.
And
Plenty of support, mate.
Yeah, and we literally are. Hey, thanks for that, Brad. We literally are trying to change lives. Everyone says, like we're all about the fight and we're all about this, and I'm like, to a large degree, a lot of promoters are. They're doing an amazing job. We're very lucky in Australia and New Zealand that we've got promoters that absolutely love the sport. They love the athletes. But I'm trying to not make it just about the fighters. I'm trying to make it about the fans and the fighters and their families as well.
I love that, man. That's super touching. That's super touching. And
Yeah.
like, I just want to put it in perspective for our Kiwi guys over here. Like, you've done this work. You just talked about Beast number 10, which is coming up, right?
Yep.
Beast 10. So this is 10 fight shows that you've put on, and you've been going for 3 years, which means you've been working through very challenging times with COVID and putting shows on, right? It's not been smooth sailing for you.
No, COVID was a massive pineapple, eh? Like, we had to cop that one sweet.
Super prickly.
Yeah, man. But we've got 9 coming up first. So 9 is in 2.5 weeks' time. But as well as, so we've got Beast Championship 9, but we've also done four junior shows. So like this will be our so in total we've done 13 shows already. And so this will be show number 14, and then 15 is in July, but July's already sold out.
But July's already sold out. So, and when you say sell out, what kind of numbers are we talking, Jay? It's like, how many numbers in the stadium for a sellout show for you?
Well, in Gladstone, we're not as lucky as we are, to have big venues like we do in Brisbane. So we've maxed this one out at 1,400 tickets. And then from there, all the VIP tables went, and the first two rows of platinum and gold went in the first 2 days. But I'll tell you, we did something completely different there. And I decided to release what was called Tradie Wars. It was something I wanted to do last year. Again, I live with PTSD, major depression and stuff like that. So, I know what it's like. And when I see the Black Dog Institute and stuff like that, I also know that in Gladstone, we have a large amount of fly in, fly out, and it takes its toll, like I know from the army, being away from all your loved ones, you miss your birthdays, you miss Christmas, you miss New Year's. And so these FIFO guys were doing exactly that here in Gladstone. It was a really, really hard time. And a lot of men's mental health was surfacing, and there was a lot out there, Clinton, for people going, you know what, it's okay to not be okay. And so I started doing all the preparation for it last year, and then we had multiple areas of Queensland shut down with COVID, and I went, you know what, it's not the time. People are basically wondering if they're getting to hold on to their job. It's not a time to throw it.
Different things to worry about, right? That's highly commendable, Jace. Highly commendable.
Yeah.
So we're coming up to sort of 14 odd shows. Beast 9 is in the pipes. Beast 10 is happening. And of course, I want to get quickly to some big news that you've got, which is going to affect Kiwi athletes, Aussie athletes, and that is Beast Championship. Because of all of your hard work and dedication and perseverance and working through, adversity, you've managed to make the opportunity exist, which is Beast is now official Road to One Championship. What does that mean for Kiwi and Aussie athletes, Jason?
Okay, brother, like this is by far probably the most exciting thing. Yeah, 100%, bro.
100%, guns up.
This is something that I've been working on for a long time. And anyone that knows, Chatri, the CEO of One Championship, knows that he's a man of extremely high values. He sets the bar for himself and expects everyone else to reach that bar. And so I sort of found a phenomenal mentor through my friendship with Chatri. He's been someone that I was always able to bounce my ideas off. But I didn't bounce ideas off him hoping that magic doors would open. I would tell him this is what I want to do, and then I'd turn around and I'd do that. And then after I'd done it, I'd be like, hey, I've achieved that. This is my next goal that I'm going to do. And then turn around and go, I've achieved that. And so I think, like the people that that follow the same sort of principles and values, they align and they get along really quickly. And that's the magic of, I guess, what happened. And I'll be the first person to say that it's very, very unique. I've spoke to the referees, matchmakers, and everyone else. And at first, a lot of people didn't believe me. They were like, this guy is full of shit. There's no way that the CEO of One Championship talks to this guy, like he's just this guy from Gladstone, Central Queensland. And, but yeah, it as it turned out, all along, it was just, I had nothing to say to anyone else. I had nothing to prove to them. My job was to prove to myself and to Chatri that I'm 100% in for building the pathway and the road to One Championship for all of Oceania. And that's what I said I was going to do on day one.
You set out to do, and you achieved it. You've now achieved it. You've got the recognition. It's official. Beast Championship is official road to one. It's 100%. Amazing. I got to clap it up. I got to clap it up right now, man, because when we spoke last year, I know you were really passionate about it. We kind of connected on One Championship. We talked about our experiences there. And how we, talked to Chatri, and we connected on that. And now, you've continued to do that work, and it's happened. You've realized the dream. You're living the dream, Jason.
And that's what we say, Clint. Direct from the man himself. Like, we're here to unleash greatness, and you're never going to do that if you're sitting on your hands waiting for other people to do it for you. And when we spoke, I was. At that stage, Gamma was heavily involved in the road to one, because all previous involvements for the road to one tournaments and stuff, that sort of been worked in with Gamma, and Gamma was like a major planning body, and directors of one, were heavily involved in that, through Carlo and Alex from Gamma. So we hit walls, and then, Gamma was focused on Europe. Gamma was focused on other things, which is all credit to them. That's great. Sure. But me, I'm focused on Oceania. Like, I'm an Aussie. I care about Australian and New Zealanders. That's my family. You know what I mean? So, So I basically was talking to Chatri, and I said, like, I understand that Gamma's got their thing, but I don't want to be reliant on Gamma. I want to be reliant that if I'm in Oceania, I want to find the best talent we have, and I want to be able to lift them up and put them on a platform that gives them the opening to step up into a world stage. So if I fast forward lots of months of conversations and stuff behind the scenes with, Rich Franklin and Chatri, basically Rich rang me not so long ago and said, Jace, Chatri has now green lighted you to be a standalone sole road to one by an independent, which is the first time it's ever happened for any promotion around the world.
Congratulations, man. Take a bow. Congratulations.
But see, for me, I don't see it as a win for me. I see it as a win for all of us, because I'm just adjusting the light there, brother. I'm focused on the athlete. So for me, what this does is this empowers me to help our athletes. Like, that's all I've ever wanted to do is, build a bridge and help people cross it. Now we've built the bridge. The next stage is we want to put people on that bridge and, give them a shove across that bridge and say, here we go. So I guess that's what's exciting about, the upcoming road to ones.
I love it. So let's get into that, man. Let's get into the road to one.
Yep.
What weight categories have we got going on at the moment? And can we talk about any Kiwi athletes or Aussie athletes that are already in? Talk to me a bit about how, what weight categories you're working on, and what is the format, and what is the, how much time does it take? Like, give me a scale, give me a time scale about how all this happens. Break it down for me, Jay.
Yeah, for sure, brother. So we've got one weight category in the background that we're working on for females at the moment, and that's the 56.7 kilo female MMA. So I've already got several applications for that, and I'm building the 8-woman 56.7 kilo Grand Prix. I've I've locked in 2 female athletes, and one of them is I won't say names about that yet because they don't even know that they've been locked in. And I'm just waiting on a couple of promo things to come back from them, so I can do up their poster graphics and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
But the main focus is our male 84 kilo, so the 83.9 kilo, which we'd call middleweight here in Australia and New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
In one championship, that's their welterweight division.
Okay.
And that brings into the fact that they have hydration testing and everything else. So their 84 kilo division is, you must be hydrated. You walk in there and you fight at your fighting weight. They're very, very big and conscious on fighter safety, and that's what I've been all along.
Yeah. So
on
no drastic weight cuts. Hey, no dudes walking around
yeah.
at 95 kgs, cruiserweight, like light, heavy, then dropping down and trying to smoke someone. Meanwhile, putting their whole bodies at risk. So none of that stuff.
Yeah, and that's like, for me, I've Geordie, fight dietitian.
Yes, of course.
He was talking to me.
He's a big feature here in New Zealand.
He's amazing, and he's like, Jace, I wish everyone was doing what you're doing with your Beast Championship weigh-in, because it's the safest platform for weigh-in. So what I normally do, Clinton, is, like, we have a Friday morning weigh-in at 8 o'clock. So from 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning, I live stream all the coaches. They've got a set of scales, and they'll either grab like a 1 kilo plate or a 2 kilo or 2 liter bottle of milk, which is a standard universal weight. And they'll put that on the scales for me to show that the scales are working. They haven't been dodged or anything. And then they step back from the scales. Their coach will film them. They step on the scales, zoom in, read the weight, and that's their live weight at 8 o'clock in the morning. If they've made weight, they're free to drink, eat, sleep, take their melatonin tablets, sleep, get ready for their flights. We then fly them into the show and everything else. But when they're flying, when they're traveling, like, they're already hydrated. They've already eaten. They feel really good. Because there's nothing worse than someone, step up on the scales at 6 o'clock the night before they fight, and there's a coach in a corner holding them up just so they can step on. It's like, there's no way in 24 hours you're fighting at capacity. And in all honesty, no sport is worth you potentially doing long-term damage to your body for. Like, it's just not. If you saw your kids doing that,
that's highly commendable, man. Like, you don't want to risk anybody's safety. I really love that. I mean, one thing I just want to segue to just quickly is just like with Beast Championship, man, I noticed that you guys are really visible. Like, you're really visible in the marketplace. You guys are quite loud in the marketplace, right? Like, you're very visible. You can't miss Beast Championship. I just want to talk about like that. How important is do you think visibility is with self-promotion, especially when it comes to a fighter or a coach or a gym for that matter? How important is that visibility in social media and other platforms to get attention from the likes of yourself as a president of one championship, president of Beast Championship, looking for fighters to come onto your show?
You've hit on a really good point there, Clinton. Like, I was just talking to Rich about this 3 days ago. And of the applications that we've got some amazing fighters. But when we sit down and look at their resume and stuff, we jump online, check out their socials, and we're like, where's your socials? And they're like, we don't have one. And I'm like, how can you want to be an international fighter and not have a platform to promote yourself? Like, it's extremely important in today's demographic to have the ability to self-promote yourself. And not just that, but for me, like, I want to, if you tag me in a video on Insta, I share that. If you tag me in a story, I share that immediately. I share it to my wall, because from day one, Beast Championship has never been about me. I live with multiple injuries, as you know, so like, I'm never going to be the limelight guy. I'm the guy that's in the background. That's like, when you come to Beast Championship, I'm going to arm you with as much as I can to push you forward into the limelight, because you're the one that's going to succeed. I'm going to sit back here at the end of the day and be really happy that during my lifetime, I was able to help fighters. I was able to help athletes achieve something that they may not have been able to get on their own. And that's what Beast Championship is for me.
I love it.
I'm never going to, I'm never going to sign a fighter, Clinton, and then go out there and have him sitting on a table next to me with me doing all the talking. You know, like I'm going to put him out on the table and I'll disappear out the back because it's not me. It's the fighters that I'm trying to do this for.
That's cool.
But without their socials, it's just so hard. You know, because it's like, how do you share an unknown? How do you share an unknown? And then like one of the first things we look for on their highlights is like we go straight to their social and we're like, okay, so we've got their fight record. We YouTube to see like a fight highlight and we're like, hardly even find a fight on this guy. And then you're like, you talk to them like, we don't want our fights on YouTube so people can't study us. And I'm like,
there you go.
Dude, you're going to be fighting on the world stage, man. You know, like the whole world's going to watch live. If you're going to be on one championship, you've got live free access to everyone on the one app, on one YouTube channel. Like it's at one Facebook. It's massive. You know, like the days of hiding and stuff, like, you know, put it out there. Let your opponent see what you got. You know, like
I agree with you.
Yeah, when you're competing for something as big as $100,000 US contract, you know, and
Whoa, is that what it is? Is that what it is?
Yes,
championship,
dude.
$100,000.
Yeah, so it's $100,000 US contract, 6-fight contract. So like even AUD, that's $139,500 AUD. So like, and a lot of the people, one of the first things they ask me is like, Jace, how much do you get paid for your first fights in one championship? I'm like, it's $5,000 US guaranteed for your fight purse. And if you win, it's another 5,000 US on top. You know, like that's for your first fight in somewhere around the world. Like it's changed. That'll change people's lives. You know what I mean? Like if you win your fight, there's 10,000 US in your pocket. Like, you know, that's amazing. Someone, you know, that's awesome. Like,
so Beast Road to
getting
One,
$1,000 to $1,500 here, and then you know
exactly.
You know, they've
but it's not just that. It's the amount of exposure that athletes going to get on the One Championship platform through Beast Championship. So if we just rewind for a second and we sort of describe for me the Grand Prix, the One Championship welterweight division that you're currently working on with the men, the MMA. Is there any Kiwi names in there that are already in there that you can talk about? And please describe. I can probably drop
one.
Yeah, make it interesting for us.
Yeah, okay, I'll drop one. He's not solidified yet because we're waiting for Eugene to come back. Obviously, we've got, you know, Eugene over there with the amazing Dan Hooker. And, you know, go Dan. Yeah. You know, like
he's up against it, but we love our man, the Dan Hangman.
Yeah, brother, 100%. You know, like, and I say this guy, I really want him because I've flown him over to fight on my show before. And both Eugene, him, his brothers were amazing. You know what I mean? Like, so James Varkey. You know,
James Varkey.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
Varkey fam is on Beast Road to One with the 84s.
Yeah, as long as everything go ahead, I've already put in that I want him on the show because I believe in him. You know, like he's not only a phenomenal human being, like he's an amazingly talented athlete as well. And 100%. After his last fight here, he was like, I want to get back in there and fight. Like I want to make that fight exciting. You know, please give me another chance to come and fight on your show. Like, I want to show people that I can do so much better. He won the fight, but, you know, for him, he wanted to really win the fight and show everyone, like, who James is. And so I've never forgotten.
Which Beast did he come out to and make that statement? What number?
Two.
Beast number two. He was out at Beast number two or Beast one?
Beast one.
Wow. So he came out and supported on Beast one, made a huge statement, made a huge impression on your mind. And now this opportunity has come. And as a result of kicking ass back then and showing you what he's made of, he has this huge opportunity.
Oh, yeah. Like, we've stayed friends the whole time, you know what I mean? Like, we were friends before I got him over. Obviously, I love the grind, you know. Like, you know, unfortunately, it was such a sad time when we lost, you know, Fowl. Like, that was just devastating for all of us. And for that sort of journey and that sort of brotherhood, like, for me, family's everything. Beast Championship is built on family. Like, a lot of people say this, but we really are. When I go on the road, we take a massive family convoy. You know, we might have 10 cars, 2 trucks, and we get there 3 days before the show. We work tirelessly from early morning to late at night, every night setting up, because like we have fire canisters, smoke canisters, gas canisters. Like, we've got all these different things that you just don't see most people do. But we take all the chairs from the venue, we scrub all the chairs, we clean all the chairs. So when people come to our show, they can't turn around and go, I can't believe I sat on a dirty chair, you know. And we're like, if it takes us a day to clean, you know, like Brisbane, you know, like 2,000 chairs, we cleaned 2,000 chairs for Brisbane. We did it because when people come along, like I've always lived with what my dad told me, and it's like, you never get a second chance for a first impression.
So true.
So when people come along, their first impression, like that's me. Like Beast Championship is a husband and wife team surrounded by family. You know, like so our best friends are our family that go on the road with us. We'd be nothing without them. Yeah, we'd honestly we'd be lost without them, Clinton. Like there's several families that have been beasts since day one. And everywhere we go, you know, like we get accommodation. We put everyone up in big family houses and stuff like that, so we're all together. You know, we order.
Mate, I gotta get myself to a Beast Championship fight. Let me understand, Beast. So with the Jason, with the way this works with James being in this category, what is it going to be? Is it like a 16 down to 8, down to 4, down to 1? Like, how does it work? And give me the timeline. When will this get announced? What do they have to go through to win this contract?
So I've announced the first one, who's Harry Gresh from Sydney. So Harry Gresh, phenomenal grappler, phenomenal fighter. He's 2-0 already as a pro. He's that keen, like he's dedicated, and he's dropping to walk in and be a walking weight of 84 kilos. That's how much, you know, an opportunity for Road for One means to him and other athletes like him. I've got someone else from Tasmania, extremely exciting fighter, you know, very, very only ever accepted hard fights. Like he lost a couple of fights, but he lost them to like current champions in other divisions, and then has gone on to win several kickboxing fights in a row. So for me, I'm like, I don't mind if you're winning kickboxing fights in a row or MMA. I look at the fighter overall. So I'm super excited to bring this person in as soon as he gets back. And then obviously James, I really want James in there. So once I've got people from India that have applied for it as well. And
but they're not Oceania, right? They're not Oceania.
And I've said to him, like I said, look, as much as I love the fact that you want to be here, is my sole goal is to promote Oceania, Australia, New Zealand. So if I put someone from, you know, over from Sri Lanka or India on this show, like you've got Road to Ones over there that are designed through the Gamma European trials and stuff like that, which we're not invited to. We can't attend due to, you know, again, those regional things. Like it's, you know, we'll have Oceania one day, but it was just humbling to see that people around the world were like, they recognize that there's an amazing opportunity in Australia right now.
Yeah, it's popping off. It's popping off.
But what I've said to him, is I said, I'm going to. Yeah, sorry, brother. I think we're.
No, it's fine. I'm still with you. So just describe for me, what is the Grand Prix format? What does it look like? Is it 8 fighters down to 4, down to 2, down to win a contract? Now, okay, so that kicks off in Beast 10, which is when? Or when does that kick off? Or are you just filling the boots at the moment and getting the names in there? Just tell me when it starts, and you know, what is the process for this person to emerge as the winner?
So the whole the first, sorry, it's an 8-man. Hang on one sec, Clinton.
Yeah, gotcha. It's an 8-man.
It's an 8-man
for
Grand
the folks
Prix
at home.
Yeah, dude.
8-man Grand Prix.
It's 8-man Grand Prix. We originally talked about 16. I'm like, a 16 will sort of draw on for, you know, like a whole year. And both Rich Franklin and myself, we want to crown a champion that go to the Road to One. We want to crown them this year.
2022, we're going to have an Oceania champion at the 83.4 weight category. It could be James Vake. Give it up.
It could be. It could 100% be, you know, like, so what I'm doing in the meantime is the people that I'm selecting, I'll send them back like an application, and I'll be like, this is the things I want to know. This is a story I want to know about you. And then where they are, I'll try and get like some local video done on them to help tell their story. And so once I release their details, I want to be able to tell, like, who is this person? Why are they doing this? What does it mean to them? So that other people are like, oh, this is not just someone stepping in a cage to fight, you know, like this is someone that's fought through adversity. This is someone that's like changed their life, and fighting is the biggest outlet for them to unleash their own greatness. And so that's what we're
Brilliant.
doing. So we've got the first 4 fighters will fight on the 2nd of July in the first 2 quarterfinals.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 2 fights, so the other 4 fighters, they'll fight on the 27th of August in Brisbane. And that's at our venue of choice for Brisbane is we partnered with the Logan Metro Sports Centre.
Logan Metro, what kind of capacity are we looking at in there? Jason, tell us.
Yeah, that can be decked out at the moment with 2,700 people. So I've released so this one here, like it's going to be super exciting because on the second half of the quarterfinals, which is obviously where I'd want to bring someone like James, like that, it's at a big venue, but it's not only that. I'm also doing the first of its kind for Australia in the fact that most of the undercard for Beast Championship 11 is done in the fact that it's a massive grappling Grand Prix event before I start bringing out the Thai, kickboxing, and MMA fights. So you'd know Hyperfly.
Absolutely.
Hyperfly are now sponsors.
You can't teach heart.
Yeah, that's it, 100%, brother. Like we've been extremely fortunate that I've always had a really good relationship with Jordan and Andy at Hyperfly. So as you know, they're Hyperfly Australia and New Zealand now. So they've jumped on and always put prizes up for the grappling events that I've had on Beast. And so they've jumped on again for this next one because on this next one I've got an 8-man grappling Grand Prix, fought under 80cc rule set. Open weight, open rank. So that's extremely exciting to see purple belts in there with black belts and brown belts. I'll get talking about black belts.
You're getting excited. I mean, I know you roll on the mats as well too, right? I mean, you have an extensive. It's probably what some of these guys that are watching may not know about you. You have an extensive mixed martial arts background. You've served in Australia, overseas. You've been deployed. Like you have a massive combat background. And now you're here as the El Presidente and creating this huge opportunity for Kiwi and Aussie fighters to get to one championship, one of the biggest martial arts platforms in the world.
Yeah, well, 100%. And like touching on that, Clint, like if you have to have your eyes closed to see that one hasn't been signing the best grapplers in the world. So like as I said to Rich, like I was really excited last week. As you know, Rich Franklin he's a fellow BJJ black belt. You know what I mean? Like he absolutely loves his jiu-jitsu. He loves his wrestling. So with this one that's coming up on the 27th of August, we've got a 16-man grappling Grand Prix. And I decided to say, let's see how good you think you are. If you put your $250 in for a buy-in in the 16-man tournament, I'll throw in a couple of extra $1,000. And the winner for the grappling tournament will walk away with $4,000 cash. Runner-up will get $1,250. And the third place will get $750. So I'm like, if you think you've got the goods, we've done it just like, just like poker, there's your buy-in.
There's your buy-in.
There's $250 on the table. Beast, we're chucking another couple of grand. And we've got the 4 women under 65 kilo Grand Prix. We've for jits, we've got the under 66 kilo male Grand Prix, 4 in that. I always include kids and juniors in my shows, like they're the torchbearers, going forward. So
yeah,
I've
definitely
put up a teenager and a junior quintet. So it's a 5-man team, and the juniors are allowed to have no more than 190 kilo combined weight under 12, and I'll put them against another 5-man team, and then the teens have a weight limit of 300 kilos for a 5-man and 5-man team. And then the winner of that will move forward. And then on the next show, I'm doing another lot of junior and teen. So that what we do is we start getting who's the best club in Australia. You've now got 5 athletes you're putting in. But then that's sort of like getting the kids invested into watching. Like they'll want to watch the best athletes of grappling, go there and then be like, you know what? There's been grapplers getting signed from all around the world for submission grappling and one championship. I don't want to be trying to play catch up then, Clinton. I want to be, going, we've already established who the best at the weight classes are. We've already done that. Like this,
you can put them forward. Opportunities, right? That's
Yep.
amazing. Like one of the things I notice in New Zealand, man, in terms of where the talent is coming from, because I spend a lot of time in the different gyms, the various gyms, right? And I'm
Yep.
seeing just this stacked amount of talent coming in from the younger ages. Like we're seeing 7-year-olds with submission skills and the BJJ like you've never seen before. And they're
Yeah,
well-rounded, well-versed athletes. It's almost like why is New Zealand and Australia so good at rugby? But it's because we start them so young.
we do.
And now I'm
100%.
seeing this talent, this wave coming in as MMA just is rising in popularity. And New Zealand and Australia, that we do produce incredible world-class athletes when you look at the per
100%.
capita.
It's
So it's a
amazing when
really exciting time. And I love
yeah.
it that you're giving so much credit to these younger athletes coming through and giving them a platform to come through on Beast Championship shows.
No, thank you, brother. Like, I started what's called Young Lions amateur series, and that's designed for kids from 6 to 17. When I first announced it, Clinton, I got contacted by 3 promoters. One of them sent me a whole bunch of clown emojis and said, "This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen." And I'm like, "We'll see what you think in a couple of years' time when you see what I'm doing. Like, do you really think I'm putting kids in there for blood sport? You know, like when they start at 6 years old, you know, they're fighting big gloves, big shin guards, chest pads, you know, and no striking to the head until you know that they're teenagers." And we developed this really safe platform. And I've since been contacted by other promotions going, "What are the rule sets that you use? Because these juniors are super exciting." And so like you fast forward 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, since when we did the first junior fight night, I've now got people flying in from all over Australia with their kids to compete on this show. And I've even had people contact from New Zealand saying, "Are we allowed to fight?" And I'm like, if you can get here for the juniors, like by all means, there's
Oh,
no
man.
money. There's no money that I can put into juniors as far as flying kids around at the moment. There's, you know, like if I had the bankroll to do that, I'd do it like now, you know. But
Yeah.
it's just
I
like
love
any
it.
other sport. It takes the parents to have belief, you know. Like I do fundraisers for my kids when they go away compete. If we've got a 3-day tournament coming up in Brisbane, like we fundraise, you know, as a club, we pay for them to go, and you know, like we chip in where we can. But it's still on us as parents whenever my kids compete. And I've said, unfortunately, it's still like that for now for under 18s. But
Yep.
we make them the same big medals that adults get. We make them their own big championship belts, you know, like, and the championship belt, the design I just did for them is more expensive than the adult one. But I said, I don't want it to be second class. I want them to go like, you know what? I love the feeling of what getting that belt after 4 fight meant to me. Now that
Yeah.
I'm an adult, I know that it's going to be hard work. No one's going to give me anything for free. But if I got to do the kudos to get it, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, man, I love it. And it feels to me like you really are investing in that next generation. Obviously, you've got this huge platform now. It's been recognized by One Championship, Chatri and his team. You're providing that massive opportunity to our fighters leveling up in the professional stakes, but you're investing just as much into the grassroots and the future of our sport, which I think is highly commendable. Now, it hasn't been all roses, mate. Like, you know, there's been challenges, ups and downs along the way. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about some of the adversity, or you've just touched on some of the naysayers, but like what have been some of the big lessons that you've learned being a promoter at this level, that you can pass on to us right now to get to where you are now? What have been some of the big lessons and big failures that you've had, and what have you learned from them?
I guess like we always knew that Beast Championship was special. As soon as the promoter rang me and said, if you launch now, Jace, you'll be the biggest competition we face, especially in Queensland. So can we join forces? And I'm like, let's do one show together and let's see if your vision matches my vision. 1 week out from the show, I said, look, it's been nice doing what we're doing, but you know, we don't agree on everything. Like, I'm about the athlete first. You're about the show making money first. And I said, I understand that from a business point of view, but why can't we have win-win? Why can't we always look after the athlete and make sure that the show's prospered? And like my wife and I have taken massive hits to keep shows going, especially like if you remember 20th of March last year, that was the last the day, and then the following day Australia was into lockdown.
Yes,
So
I do remember.
we literally finished cleaning up on Saturday night, and then the next day it was complete lockdown Australia wide, and that's how we stayed for 4 months. So everything that like everyone told me, the messages and stuff, like, yeah, as you said, it's definitely not roses, Clinton. I've had screenshots from coaches saying, mate, I really want my fighter. I believe in what you're doing, Jace. I love what you represent. After meeting you, I can see you're 100% in the sport. Like a promoter that runs in the ring to clean up vomit and help carry your kid out of there, because it just got too much for them. They're like, I've never seen someone do that. I'm like, but why not?
Yeah,
it's a role. Being the promoter is a role. It doesn't make me better than anyone. I believe we all stand equal in this sport. And I've got to do my job to empower the fighters to be able to do their job. I've got to do my job to empower the officials to do their job, and all that sort of stuff. So it's got to be. It's not like promoters and the team up above, and then we've got fighters, and then below them we've got the crowd. Like no way. How about we all do it together? Grow something
I love
that
it.
yeah. And
I love it.
So someone actually sent me some advice saying, it doesn't make you look very good, Jace, when you're in there, cleaning up blood, and that in between the rounds, like you've got to sit down and let someone else do that. And I said, you couldn't be further from the truth. Like you must forget that I'm a veteran, and the only way to do something is to lead from the front. And I said, it's as simple as, I won't say names, but they know who they are. If they're watching this, they'll know my reply. And I said, if someone is good enough to put their name forward to fight on my show, I fly them here, I accommodate them, they get in that ring and there's blood. If they've fought on my show, I'm going to get in there and clean their blood up. I'm going to shake their hand and thank them for putting on an amazing show. And I'm going to check up to make sure that they're going good. You know what I mean? Like it's not an us versus them thing. It's like we're all in this sport together.
Yeah, mate, that's a great sentiment. That's a great sentiment. So any particular, challenges that you faced? Obviously, you've sort of chatted about a few naysayers and things like that. Was there anything like, COVID was a big one, of course, because you're 3 years old, you're coming up to 14 shows. Was there anything like massive that sort of just ruck in your brain and you just almost went, you know what? Oh, this might be a little bit too hard.
I thought so.
There's one thing you might share.
There's one thing that happened that, like it was either going to be, there's a couple of things, but this one I'll touch on first because this is probably the lowest point that I'd ever realized that people in combat sports, especially the higher up they get, they don't really have the heart in it for the sport. It's like you're a competitor, so I need to squash you as fast and as hard as I can. And that's where I was touching on. Some coaches sent me screenshots saying, if you fight for Jason Beast Championship, you'll never be allowed to fight on our show again. And I'm like, hey, I can't tell you what to do, but as a fully grown man, if someone told me who I can fight, where my fighters can fight, where they can go, I'd be like, see you later, mate. No one tells me what to do. I have this thing like, and apologies for swearing, but if you're not feeding me, you're not fucking me, or you're not putting a house over my head, you don't tell me what to do.
Word up, Jace, word up.
Yeah. And I said, like, there's enough sports, combat sports in Australia that we should be sharing. I buy the live streams for all the other shows. I promote the live streams for all the other shows, because I want to see the show do well, because if they're doing well, hopefully that means that the overflow means that our sport's doing well. Like, we would never have the success we have for rugby league if our kids didn't start at school and get, and get supported and have athlete pathways and workshops and weekend seminars on how to get better at football. And I'm like, the more we drive this sport together as promoters, the better. But Beast Championship, the biggest budget we'd ever put into production and stuff, making videos and interviews and doing like all the scrolled theme in and theme out videos and stuff. It cost Joe and I way more than the show was ever going to give us back. But what we said, and Chatri was excellent for this, and he said, Jace, just understand that for the first 10 shows, you'll probably make a loss. But if you can survive 10 shows and your heart is still in it, then you're going to win. You're going to win because people will have seen, he goes, anyone else that's like us and promoters and understand how much goes into a show, and then we look at the amount of tickets sold and the price that they're sold at, we'll be like, there's no way that show made money, but it still went ahead. And I guess this was a really big proving point to me that I wasn't just going to say, you know what, it's been extremely hard. I'm just going to throw it in. But right before the co-main event that we'd been plugging in for the 4-woman Grand Prix at 66 kilos, one of the coaches sent me a screenshot saying that there's a rumor going around that someone else is going to sabotage my show. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've heard it before, And then I got it from a couple of other coaches And one person rang me and said, Jace, I love you, bro, and what you're doing. I'd be there if my fighter wasn't on another show that night. But he said, look, this is what I heard, and I heard it with my own ears. And I'm like, okay. So I was just like, let's be forewarned, like, excuse me. So I didn't know if it was going to be a bomb threat or something, like coming from the military. As soon as something like that's done, Clinton, it's mass evacuation. And so we'd already gone over and spoke to Logan instead, like, where's all your cameras and stuff like that? Like, we just need to be able to keep an eye and make sure everywhere's recorded tonight. Anyway, right as the co-main event, they run out to touch hands. Fire alarm system goes off and the evac warning's going nuts. And we're like, what's going on? So I thought at first it was part of Bonnie's soundtrack. And I'm like, oh my God, like her walkout song, she's even got like an evac sign. And I'm like, this chick is unreal, Bonnie Gillespie, and then as soon as the manager of Logan come running over to me with his high vis hat on and his speaker, and he said, can you please help me evacuate the center? I'm like, oh, this is legit. And he goes, yeah, there's been an activation. So we moved everyone outside, and there was another show on the same weekend. We moved everyone outside, and we waited 48 minutes for the fire brigade to come in, and they said someone smashed a fire alarm. They said so, and they're like, so basically, and so when the manager said, look, that was one of the only two spots that we don't have video coverage of either. And I said, you know what, like, I've been in the back of my mind all night, I've been sitting here going, what is it going to do? When is it going to be? What's it going to be? How's it going to happen? And so it's sort of like, as soon as that happened, something clicked in me, Clint, and I was like, that's what it was. So I went out the front, and some people jumped in their cars and left and asked for refunds and, live stream refunds. And, we had to do what we got to do. But for everyone else that was there, I said, look, I promise as soon as we go back inside, I'm going to get the show back on the road, and we're going to make these four girls fight, and it's going to be an amazing night. So if you're with me, once the fires have given us all clear, let's go. So my wife went around, she spoke to everyone else that was there, and said, look, we're 100% going on with the show. Please don't leave. There's a lot of people that have come here to support these four girls. And we went in there, and as soon as they gave us the doors, we were straight back to my DJ and my light and sound.
Put a beat on for the people. Put a beat on for the people.
It went straight back. We said, please allow the athletes 10 more minutes to go back and warm up again. Like they need to do a warm up because they've been sitting out, outside for 48 minutes waiting. So they had another 10-minute warm up. They came in, they put on a hell of a fight, and then Kita and Ina came in and they finished the main card event with one of the best female fights I've ever seen, and they both fights put on an absolute war. Paula was extremely powerful, and just was able to overwhelm and overpower, Bonnie, who just couldn't quite get to her grappling because the striking power, and I mean, anyone coming from John Wayne Parr's club, is going to have.
It's going to bloody well throw down.
Yeah, and she was also a lot heavier. Like there was problems with the weigh-in during the week. But Kita and Ina finished that card, and I was like, you know what? I put an amazing bunch of fighters on that show and headlined it with four females that I thought, deserved and loved the sport and either been coaches or have helped in some other capacity for the sport for a long time. And it was good to see them. We made custom shirts for all the fighters that wanted them. I think Kita sold like 52 or 54 custom B shirts with her photo and everything all over them. Like,
it's so cool, man. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It sounds to me, well, congratulations on getting through that adversity, right? Like somebody trying to mess things up for you, but you just didn't allow it to beat you on the night. You persevered, you whipped people up, and they came in and put on an amazing show, and you didn't let it dampen your spirits, man. But that's how low some people will go when they feel threatened by you. So that's, for me, it sounds like competition just feeling like sour grapes and trying to soil your good nature and your good work, which is a shame. It's a real shame. But you've touched on a few things there with the show. You've talked about the details. I've obviously paid a lot of attention to like how visible you are in the marketplace. But there's something between, say yourself and Chatri like I've met Chachi, of course, and I know he's a real stickler for details and a real stickler for having, the highest quality production. You've talked about some of the aspects of your show being like an entertainment spectacle. It sounds amazing. Like if you're not getting to a beast show, you're seriously missing out. And now the stakes have risen up so much higher because it's, road to one experience. So full credit, man. That sounds like, something that we have to be at. We have to support that.
Yeah, and it's really funny. Like we've known for a long time, Clinton, that one thing we really needed to do to up the ante on our production side was to put a new cage canvas in. But for me, I just couldn't justify $7,000 for. It's a really high quality cage canvas, and it's fully custom. And I was like to Joe, I'm like, do you know how many fighters we can put on our show for that? And I'm like, our canvas is good. It's just blue. And I never had the drive to sort of go, I want to have something that's aesthetic more than I want to have something that's helping a fighter. I'm like, for $7,000, I can fly this person, pay them this purse. Like I can fly up 3 more amateurs for that. And, they're not going to worry about what the cage floor looked like. They're just going to love the fact that they had a fight. But now that we are visibly and officially road to one championship, not just for one show, but forever, we've already sent all our, so I get now to work with, One Championship's marketing team, their marketing director, their marketing executive, so everything I've got now, I send directly to her. She approves or she lets me know where I need to change it. We've got our own merchandise coming out soon, which is officially Road to One approved. And Hyperfly is making our limited edition rash guard, which is basically the same one they did for One Championship, but is it's black and gold, the same colors, man. Beast, but it's got Road to One, Beast Championship, and Hyperfly on it, but exactly the same Supreme comp rash guard design. So it's amazing. And then we've got a lot of other little things.
Yeah, a lot of attention to detail, and I mean, we faced adversity as we were going through COVID, but you diversified too. Like you launched a performance drink, and you launched a few other products while you were at it. You didn't just wait around for shows to become a reality again. You went and did, new and different things.
Yeah, well,
tell us about that.
I was sponsored by Raise, and like Raise did really well on one of our shows. Like we made all our girls custom. One of our friends is a dressmaker and made them all custom fitted ring girl outfits and stuff. And we had like 6 ring girls, and we're like, this is crazy, like we're going all out. And we learned lessons. And now we only have 2 ring girls because we love our team. They do an amazing job. They know what they're doing. They are Beast family. And Danny and Renee, like there is no 2 better ring girls in Australia than what those 2 do. They're consummate professionals in everything they do. All the ring girls are run by, my wife. She, as we say, I'm Warfare. Joe's
Shout
Warfare.
out to your wife. What's your wife's name? We forgot there.
Is Joe. Yeah, she's over here.
Shout out to Joe, making it happen behind the scenes, making it work, making it go down. Thank you.
Yeah, she literally
Charlie.
got home helping one of our best mates. Their new chiropractic clinic opens next week. So she's just been there helping get that set up, ready to go, cleaning all the windows and glass and stuff. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
well, I sort of feel like we're potentially running a little bit out of time here. I just want to quickly wrap up, and I want to say, look, if somebody's coming to a Beast show tomorrow to come and support, give me a quick rundown on what they can expect. Why should somebody come to a Beast show, Jace?
Massive entertainment. Like our last one was themed for Halloween. We'd like to try and do something every day. So all our staff were dressed as Halloween. We had Halloween stuff all over the place. So that the kids, when they came there, they were like, oh my God, like we had a haunted walkthrough and stuff. And they're like, we're an entertainment spectacle. But when you walk into Beast, like we do have a long lineup out the line. Like we open our doors well before. And sometimes our live stream has run over. Technical difficulties are something that you just have to contend with on the night. And a lot of times we've had, like the last show, just as we went live, the power circuits blew at the venue and it's not our venue, So we were running around behind the scenes, and people don't see that. They're just like, I want a refund. And you're like, hey, we got the show. we got the show up 10 minutes later. We got emergency backup generators plugged in and running, and kept the show going the whole night. But these things you learn on the go, you know. But
Yeah.
but
So what's
when
the
you come,
experience? I'm sitting in the seats, man. It's entertainment. It's spectacle.
yeah.
You know, what's my vibe? What am I going to experience? What am I going to take away from a
So
beach
now
show?
as soon as you walk through the doors, you know, you're greeted by the girls who give you your bands or your ticket bands for your different level of seating and stuff. You then go over and you get your drink tickets, or you get escorted to your VIP tables if you're on the VIP section. We give them their envelopes with all their VIP passes and their drink tickets and stuff all ready to go. Now we have merchandise stores and that set up. So last time we sold all our merchandise, which was our B shirts. We had our athlete shirts there because we make shirts for our athletes as well. But if you fast forward the night before, now athletes, when they come along, I take the athletes through a full walkthrough. And that's something I learned from Chatri.
Okay.
Is if you're going to, if you want people to perform, they need to understand the ebb and flow of the show, you know, like, so we go, right, this is from fighter 1 through to the last fight, you know, fight number 20. This is the walkout. This is where we line up. Everyone watch your arms, because this is where the canister is. This is where the fire's going to go. This is where the gas canister is. So don't put your arms up and wave to everyone at this particular section. And so we do make sure all of our shows are safe for the fighters as well. And when we do that rehearsal, we explain everything. And so tomorrow night is not about us. It's about you. The cameras aren't focused on the production team. They're focused on you fighters coming out down the walkout ramp. So like we want them to go, holy shit, like I've never felt so much attention and eyes on me. And I'm like, and a lot of them just go, man, that was such a vibe. When can I fight for Beast again? You know, and we give them all custom walkout shirts if they're in the blue corner, and the red corner. You know what I mean? Like, we're massive on all of the values that we take away for our team as well. That's why I make sure everyone leaves that cage. They shake hands, they cuddle. You know, like only one person's ever been told not to come back, and they started bad mouthing a fighter and flipped them off, and it was not what we're looking for. I'm like, listen, we're not WWE. We're not trying to sell tickets for people to see grudge matches or something. We follow one championship.
This is martial arts. This is martial arts, right?
It's you got two extremely, there's two extremely competitive fighters, and we're going to cheer both of them on. You know, one's always going to win, one's always going to lose, but you know, but they're both winners for getting in the cage, and that's what we really drive.
I love that, man.
And so, but I guess to summarize that, merchandise. Our food, like we're getting custom food and stuff, people that you don't really see on other shows.
But it's not just, you know, I want to go back to the merchandise for a second, right? I just want to jump on that. It's not just your run-of-the-mill merchandise, right? This is premium fucking awesome gear that you can rock, right? This ain't just run-of-the-mill, chuck a screen print on it and send it on its way. This is some premium stuff we're talking about, yeah?
It's all high quality, dry athlete. So we have normal cotton shirts there for people that just want a $20 shirt for their kids. You know, and then if they want a $45 or a $50 shirt for their kids, then we start moving up into the rash guard type material. We start moving up into the same, like if you see the old Venom Performance range shirts, our Venom Performance, like same sort of stuff there, where we use the 80% polyester, 20% cotton, so that it's an athletic shirt that you can not just wear it to go out, but you can wear it for fight training and everything. And
it's performance wear. And this is what I mean. Like, this is great stuff, man. So we've rocked in, we've had this awesome experience. Like, dude, I think you're taking it to the next level. Like, honestly, this is the benchmark. This is where you want to be, right?
Yeah. Well,
why wouldn't you want to come to a beach show?
Yeah, and
I think crazy like, not to be there.
I love the analogy. You know, like as soon as I reach, I move the bar and I start getting close to that bar, I'm never going to settle. I'm going to lift that bar and then go, right, this is where I'm going again. So the latest thing we're doing, like I've got to touch on this before I go, because this is amazing, not just for me, but this is amazing for combat sports. We've been lobbying and working with the government here for a long time to develop not only our own fight center. So we've got Beast Martial Arts where we do our training and stuff, and that's where a lot of the fighters go and fill our local cards, and then we fly everyone else in. But we've now gone and we're building our own super stadium. So
what?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So what we had is we had a grant in, and so did the basketball center. They had a grant in as well. it's now at the stage that we've combined our applications to go, rather than Beast build one thing, rather than basketball build one thing, we've put in for this super center, and we are close.
So like a high performance, like a high performance center for combat sports combined with basketball. So congratulations. This sounds amazing.
Beast Training Center is getting built beside it, but to give you an idea of it, it's the mat. It's 35 meters by 20 meters by 2 levels, and that's a massive fight center.
That's a lot of square footage, man. That's like a couple of basketball courts side to side, length to length.
Yeah,
and again, another level above.
Yeah, and so what we're doing with that is we don't want people to have to leave Queensland to, find somewhere else to go. It's like we're registering with the Olympic Wrestling Committee, with the Olympic Judo, so that we can have full-time training programs for athletes to now come and live in this town and be, like doing scholarships for that. Upstairs has got like full-size cage, full-size ring already planned for it. In that, we've gone straight through to the manufacturers of one for their massive ring. And we're now making the circle ring, but we're going to make one that's 11 meters for 11 meters round,
which will be full size. The full size. Mate, this sounds like content for another whole interview, Jace. It feels like I need another hour with you, bro, to go on to the next chapter, like volume 1 and volume 2. I'm super pumped, bro. I feel like I've just learned so much about like your background and about why you're doing it, your motivations, where Beast is heading, honoring the past. And I just feel like it's a huge future for you, bro. How do we stay in touch and support you? I see we've got Beast Championship down the bottom. What's the best place for people to get in contact with you? We've had a couple of Kiwis. I see they've talked about their fighters here in the comments. What's the best way to get in contact and to try and get their fighters onto your shows?
Okay, easiest way, like I have Beast Championship is what we're called on Instagram. And like we're like, I think 33,900 on Facebook followers now. But on Instagram, we only launched Instagram a little bit ago, so it's slowly catching up, but it's growing quickly as well. And
there it is there, Beast_Championship. Sorry to interrupt, but I just want to make sure people know that. Yep, and I'll put that in the comments as well.
Beast_Championship has been one of the fastest way people have been able to just get some general information from us. And then from and they reach out on Beast Championship Facebook page as well. But because the page is so big now, it can take me a long time to go through and find messages. Like there might be 100 messages sitting there, and I've got to filter through like, hi, I make custom wares from Pakistan. And I'm like,
we all get those messages. Yeah. So filtering out the good ones from the bad ones. I get it. So but Facebook, on Instagram, we've got Facebook and Insta, but get it, you would Insta, which is the Beast_Championship. That's the place to be.
Yep. Or if you want to email me direct, it's ceo@beastchampionship.com. Okay. And that's where I've got all the fight applications being emailed to, is ceo@beastchampionship.com. I then put them into, basically, I get them, Clint. I go, okay, are they ticking the boxes that Rich Franklin and myself are looking for? Remember, we've also got Matt Hume and Rick Audie, the 2 matchmakers for one. And what we do is we all speak in a group of 4, and we're like, there's this person's been involved with this promotion before, and they'll just be like, no. If they're coming from another promotion and they've been on a 3-fight win-loss, a 3-fight loss, then we're not going to give them a chance here. They need to stay local, get a few more wins under their belt, and then work their way up. Coming from another promotion doesn't, so like.
I love it. Thank you for clarifying that. So that's out to our Kiwi fighters, and obviously you'll have super fights on some of these big events too. So, maybe we'll look at some Trans-Tasman with some of the girls and some of the other guys as well that maybe are not on the official road to one, but just other super fights. We can potentially get that happening, right? We can make that with promoters from New Zealand or coaches from New Zealand. Come over.
You've got some amazing promoters over there, and I watch them on your page as well, and they're absolutely phenomenal, mate. Like King of the Ring and stuff like that. Like that's some of the highest caliber kickboxing I've seen in Oceania, and
absolutely,
I'd love the ability to go, hey, talk to the promoter and be like, would you be willing to put, like a Beast Championship title on the line over there, so that when we find out the eliminator from New Zealand, We then find the eliminator from Australia, and then whether they fight in New Zealand or they fight in Australia depends when one of the shows is coming up. So they don't have to be just the Beast Championship show to be able to sort of like have the avenue. Because if you said to me, Jace, we've got 20 athletes, I'll be like, until Great Northern come on board and we get some sponsorship, like things like that.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
exactly.
whatever we need to do, as I guess it's the spirit of the Anzacs, like we always achieve what we need to get done. And so you were great. Like, this is one of the avenues you were looking at last year, and you said you've got amazing promoters over there that would be like, hey, I've got a 10-man card. If you want to add the other two on there, Beast will pay their professional purses and everything else. We'll give the promoter the money to fight for us, so that way we're not getting the namesake from them doing the work and paying for it. We will pay the athlete, but they'll be on, like maybe if we're looking for a K1 fight, that best place to put them is put them on, like King of the Ring, and so something like
this
that.
Is it.
Then,
it's out on the table, and we were trying to get creative with this last year because COVID was just screwing us around like no end, and we just didn't have confidence to move forward. But it sounds to me like things are well open. The lines of communication are well open, so we will be putting that to our promoters out here. This has been a clear message to the coaches that Beast Championship is official road to one, and it's all happening. And with that, my friend, I want to say thank you so much for your time, Jason. It's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the very, very best of success with Beast Championship, man. And I see there's a reason why Chatri has shoulder tapped you and given you that pathway. And I appreciate all the hard work that you've done, my friend.
Thank you, brother. And on that note, like I'll never be able to thank Chatri enough for believing in, a mohawked Aussie, like covered in tattoos and stuff that people would probably never have given the chance to. But like Chatri said, is he didn't look at who I was. He looked at what I represented. And he said, some people have the ability to be on social media and bullshit their way through. And he said, everything you've done and everything you've said you're going to do, you've done. And it takes warriors to change the world. And so like, I will never let him down in the fact that he's given me that chance to go out there and not only just represent Beast, but I'm representing one Oceania, so I now hold myself to an even higher level of standard, which is why I don't get into online arguments with people. I just let it go. I either delete the thread because I'm like, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to change people's lives, not compare people against people or promotion against promotion. If promoters don't like me, it really doesn't bother me, Clint. Like, I'm here to change people's lives. And like I just instead of thinking of me, mate, they think of their fighter. That's
exactly. They're taking away from their fighter. They're taking away from their fighter. Well, I've taken too much time already, Jace. I really appreciate everything. We're going to end it there. Make sure you guys are following Beast_Championship on Instagram. Check them out on Facebook. The lines of communication are open, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.